Well, let's see how many we get for this one, shall we? Anyway, let's get into it. Because I've got a feeling this show's going to be a little bit feisty. Okay, before we start, I'm Mike the Fisherman, Mr. Controversial, Mr. Edgy as I've been called this evening. I need to give my head a wobble. I need to give... I need to go to Specsavers and all that. Right. I want to get into this because I'm fed up of hearing the absolute dross that I've heard tonight and seen and written and stuff like that in on the socials. I watched the game, as you do. I've seen all the alleged penalties back. We'll get on to them later. No doubt some of you will probably think, Fisherman, you've lost the plot. But I don't care. It's my opinion. It's my views. And I'm also basing my opinions based on being a referee as well. So let's look at the referee himself, and we'll talk about the ref. He was shocking at Preston. And was he any better today? No, I don't think he was very good today either. Some of his decisions were, some of the free kicks he was giving just weren't free kicks. Penalties, I didn't think there was any. Good evening, DJ. Gary Rowett. Has done us again. Demo him to National League South. Evening, Martin. How you doing? Look, I think we need to talk about this penalty at the end. I've seen this so many times, right? And I can see look, I'm going to be honest, all banter and laughing and joking or whatever, so I can see why some people would give it. Others wouldn't have given it. I wouldn't have given it as a referee. For me, it's just two players banging into each other and one goes down. Goes down looking for it. That's what it looked like to me, and I wouldn't have given it. I wouldn't have given any of the penalties today. I wouldn't have given some of them free kicks either. I thought some of the way the ref managed the game today, I thought he was poor. But that's about as much as I really want to talk about, really, when it comes to the penalties, because everybody's concentrating on the poor refereeing and everybody's concentrating on the fact that we didn't get a penalty at the end of the game, but no one's talking about the shit first half that we watched. And that's what cost us the 3 points. And good evening, Dean. Sam, how you doing? Red Devil, how you doing? I hope. Thanks very much. Love the new. I've had some new followers, and new subscriptions. People subscribe. If you like what I do, just subscribe. Like I said, town fans, I get. Look, being a town fan, we can all have a little bit of a. Oh Christ alive, that was definitely a penalty and all this lot. I'm a little bit on the fence with it, if I'm brutally honest. Like I said, I've said and I'll stand by it, I wouldn't have given it. I've refereed many youth football games, and I was considered, to be honest, in the local area, a decent referee. A lot of teams wanted me to referee, and that was because I used to think, look, the game should be played fairly, and stuff like that, And the thing is, people are talking about the penalties and they're not talking about the first half. There was probably 3 players that were off it today. I would probably say, one of the worst players today was Dan Neal. He was atrocious when he came on the other night, and he was atrocious again today in the first half. Kept giving the ball away. He was it was just awful. It was awful to watch him play. His positional sense. He stood on the edge of the box when they scored, and I'm thinking, well, why aren't you picking these players up? Well, you know, if you're stood on the edge of the box with no one, you're marking no one. That's schoolboy stuff. You pick a player, you know, and you watch what goes on and stuff. But he stood there, no one around him. People saying, "Oh, Davis should have done more." Maybe he could have done, should have done, but we shouldn't have put ourselves in that position in the first place. You know, with that was as poor a first half as as we've seen this season again. You know, it's Trevor. How you doing, mate? Sorry, didn't go today. Didn't feeling a bit poorly. Didn't see the game, but like to hear your alternative view. I do have an alternative view. No point, DJ says, no point moaning about the ref's decision in games. It's about what we do as a team to win the game, and sadly, we just don't mix it up enough. I absolutely agree. Taylor played well when he came on. He will be a starter for Tuesday for sure. Should have been a starter today. I have not seen anything of Neil that says he's better than Taylor. Taylor is probably the best, I would argue, he's probably the most improved player at the club. And that first half was crying out for someone like him. Borough win tomorrow. I've had this sinking feeling, and for a while now. You know, games in hands are. I would rather have the points on the board than games in hands. I've said this, and for me, it's like, oh, we win these 2 games in hand. We level back. Well, we ain't. We're not even. Borough right now are in the driving seat. They can draw. They win tomorrow and they're 4 points clear of us. We've lost the advantage, and this season reminds me of Leeds. When we went up and Leeds didn't, because they just couldn't get the results that they probably deserved. Sam says, McKenna has faced, hang on, where are we? Dave says, if we get top 2, I'll be shocked. The amount of stupid points we have thrown away is shocking. Couldn't agree more. McKenna has faced Leicester 6 times against 4 different managers and still hasn't won. Agreed. Woody Wood says, good evening, mate. Putting all penalties shenanigans aside, display was inept and flags up that we are destined for the playoffs. We are not good enough for automatic promotion. Couldn't agree more. And you're right, Trevor. There was all these memes going around with the Coventry bus with the wheels off. Well, they're now 8 points clear. I said this at Christmas, Coventry would go up. I said they would go up, and that is it. And I still say now that Middlesbrough will go up. But there's a dark horse in this league, and I called it at the beginning of the season, and that's Millwall. Could Millwall sneak into the automatic playoffs? Or the automatics? Could they sneak in? Because they got a great result yesterday, and we do need. Evening, Graham. How you doing, mate? Millwall, for me, stand a better chance of getting into the automatics in Ipswich. We're 2. So last night I was talking to my evening DD. How you doing, DD? Right. And Ipswich are probably the only team that's consistent of being inconsistent. We're consistently inconsistent. And that to me sums up our season. First off, you should have come out, fighting in that first half. I'm not having it anymore. I'm fed up of excuses and, I just, there was no reason. There's no reason other than them being told, we'll just keep the cane calm and we'll do it. We were crap in that first half, and Leicester deserved their 1-0 lead. They offered more damage. They looked more threatening. All we did was, there was probably 4 players that came out of that with any credibility. You know, Burns, you always get 110% with Burns. Okay, let's have a look at this. Millwall are winning games and we just aren't consistent. Again, we are consistently inconsistent. AD, good evening. AD, how you doing? KM's post-match interview was the most honest I've heard since he became manager. He could have said a lot, but he had already got a yellow card for something that he'd said. Graham, I'm with you. I've said this for a long time now. I just don't think there's enough about us. And I don't think, look, for me, you know, it's all very well saying, oh, McKenna's got all these 100 wins and stuff, the quickest manager ever to do it and all that. It's all very well doing that. But it's the business end of the season where we should be winning games. We should be beating teams like Leicester, who are sat in the bloody relegation zone. Even with their 6-point deduction, they're still right down there. And yet we're at home where we're meant to be our best and we couldn't beat them at home. So our consistent run, our momentum run, listening to Callie the other day on his video, on his channel, he was saying, you know, we've got momentum. Well, that's been ruined today. Our momentum's been stopped again by the Foxes. We can't seem to beat them. I know who the manager is, we can't seem to beat him. McKenna doesn't know how to beat them. And it's really frustrating. You know, I look at some of the games that we could and should have won had we had settled side, had we had Mr. Tinkerman stop changing things around every 5 minutes. You know? But today there was a few players off in that first half. I thought O'Shea, Mr. 50p head. He was a bit shaky at the back today. And his header into the ball today was like he'd got a 50p hat on him because it was good all over the place. And if I'm going to give him praise, or if I'm going to, then if I don't think he's had a particularly great game, then I'm going to, think it's going to be Sam says I think it's going to be playoffs, but I don't think we'll win it. No, we won't. Absolutely not. We'd probably end up against Wrexham or something like that and probably lose. I mean, Wrexham, what they were 2-2 against Chelsea earlier. They're a good, well-organised side. Wrexham, a bit like Millwall. Hull, they're doing well, but they're having a bit of a wobble, aren't they, at the moment? They lost. Trevor says, playoffs are really like cup games and we are not very good at sudden death. No fan of Chelsea, but pleased they are beating Hollywood FC. Do you know what? I love the Wrexham story. I do, genuinely do, because let's be honest, right? If you look at what's happened in the EFL, the new next year, the new 8-team playoff bollocks. I mean, that's ridiculous. You're rewarding teams for mediocrity. You know, you can finish mid-table and still get promoted. What's the point of the league then? What is the point of having a fucking league if you're going to sit there and, look, you finished on 48 points, but you can now go in the promotion run and playoffs and you could get promoted, where a team might be sitting on 86 points, won all their games. It's just an absolute pointless. It's all about the money. It's just wrong. It's like someone sitting behind a curb. Okay, so how can we make it a bit more fun for everybody? I know. Stick my little glasses on and I'll make it more fun for everybody. They're absolute ridiculous. I'm fucking pissed off with it. Football is mad. It's gone bonkers. You've got the National League. One goes up. Why can't we just go fucking back? Why can't we just go back, right, to when it was top 3 teams get promoted, bottom 3 teams get relegated. Get rid of bin off all this playoff crap and all that. Let's go back to that, because look, call me old school. I know people are not going to agree with me. It's absolutely mad that It's absolutely mad that we have to sit there, and right now, was it, Derby, Derby, whoever's fit, who's fit, I don't know, I got my other phone. So, yeah, whoever's sitting 8th right now, it's mad to think they could go into the Premier League when a team's sitting 3rd, that might have 80 points, 86 points, missed out on goal difference, going through the automatic playoffs. You're absolutely, let's catch up with these, right. In the final third, it just cries out for someone to have a shot. Oh, God, you're not kidding. As on today, he was as poor as I've seen him. Yes, I was ranting about the ref post-match on TT, but Town were poor, especially in the first half. Passes going nowhere. 80, absolutely bang on the money. We could sit here and waffle about whether it was a penalty or not and whatever and all that, but the reality is we shouldn't have to rely on a penalty, right, to win that game. We have enough. We're supposed to have this absolutely agree with Mike D there. Winks ran the midfield today. Matasiwa, didn't think he had his best game. Neil was just woeful. Taylor made a massive difference in there. I didn't think Nunes had a particularly great game at times. Thought he was better in the second half. Azon was poor. Look, I was shocked. I was shocked at Agali coming on. But he got the match winner. Which says to me maybe he's an impact player. At the moment, because of his young age, he's an impact player. Burns ran his heart out today. Absolutely ran that. He just gives you 110% every game. I don't think I've ever seen Burns have a really bad game or a game where I thought, oof. He just always works his socks off, coming in, trying to create something, trying to make a pass, getting down the byline, whacking it across. Okay, if it don't go across, it goes out for a corner. And our set plays are absolute shite. What is this obsession with dropping the ball in the 6-yard box? That's bread and butter for the keepers. You should be dropping it just, between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box. Drop it anywhere in there. And then it's a case of someone can head the ball in, Then you either have a good defender or a good header, a striker or defender can head the ball. Not just saying it now, but I was more concerned about Leicester than Hull. And do you know what? I have to agree. I went down my lakes this morning, check on things down there, and I was having a chat with one or two lads down there, and they were all the same. Mike Winks didn't run the midfield today. The whole second half, Leicester could hardly get out. Okay, so Hamish, I would argue that he did in the first half. I'm not saying in the second half because I think we'd done in the second half what we should have done in the first half. But in that first half, Winks ran that midfield. He absolutely did. Everything was running through him. When was the last time we have ever scored from a long throw? We haven't. Complete waste of time. Absolutely agree. Couldn't agree more. Our set pieces are shit. Like I said, I think it's playoffs. I genuinely think it's playoffs. I do. Like I said, it's for me. It's all good, all very well. McKenna going to the fans and the fans going, "Oh, McKenna must have been bad. He got a yellow card, and that's the first time he's got a yellow card." Well, that shows one thing: he's got a bit of passion. But where was that passion for them players in that first half? Yeah, he should be bollocking them players for that first half performance. I would have been. You don't come out playing like that. You go out and you give it a right go from that. If you want promotion, as a manager, do you say, well, you know what? This is like business end of the season. Right, lads, you're in there and you're talking to your team. Right, lads, this is a business end of the table now, yeah? End of the season, we've got to go out from from the very first minute to the very last minute, and we've got to go out and we've got to press, score, do as much damage as we can as a team, get the result, come away from that and knowing that you've done the best you can. Today, we haven't. We did a great second half. The second half was completely opposite to the first. We should have been playing like that from the first minute, and we didn't. And that is what's happened far too many times this season. So even McKenna's telling them, oh no, don't go out in the first half, don't overdo it and all this lot, right? Which is fine if you don't mind taking the flak for it, or the players are not listening to you. Which says to me again, okay, so if the player's not listening to you, again, it's your fault, McKenna. It's your fault that we've had some inconsistency of performances this year. We've far too many changes in the first half of December. Right, first half of the season, right up until about December. Settled back four. We never had a settled back four. Midfields keep changing. Front three keep changing. You know, and this is the thing. We have consistently been inconsistent this whole season. And it's on McKenna for me. You know, because he's either telling them one thing and they're not listening, or he's telling them to do this and they are listening and they're trying to play this pragmatic way. This real, lethargic. I wasn't very happy with that first half at all. And if I could have done a live then and people come and watched it, I would have done it. But, you know, we had an opportunity today to really stamp our authority on the league. We could have said, right, you know, look, we're Ipswich Town. We've spent all this £200 million. Yes, we've sold £100 million worth. We've still got £100 million worth of players. We've still got one of the best, allegedly the best squads in the league, but we haven't. I think we've got far too many individual players there that, you know, at times they gel, but most of the time they don't, because there's no consistency with the team. Again, our biggest consistency is our inconsistency. DJ says there's only one person that's going to stop us going up, and that's McKenna. Tactical poor. I have to agree. VAR, didn't think they had it in the FA Cup. Yeah, they do it. They do have it in some games. Look, modern football. What they've done is they've taken Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, whatever, and they've turned football into that. It's all about stats, numbers, who's doing how many runs, who's doing this, and the game's no longer refereed by humans, it's refereed by television that are sat there by people that are humans who can't agree. We've got VAR that can't agree with the referees on field decisions, and then you've got VAR overturning referees' decisions. So what is the point of having the referee on the pitch? You might as well just have two people sat in Stockley Park behind a computer, referee the game, and have a big loudspeaker with a whistle coming out of it. And when they see something, I don't know, blow it up and job done. Martin said, hi, hello, mate, how you doing? Hamish, VAR destroying the soul of football since 2019. The soul of football has gone. It's gone for, 2019. The soul of football has been gone for a while, mate. And I enjoy watching a lot of lower league stuff. It may not be great football, but you know you're going to get battles. You know you're going to get teams that, you know, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's sad because, like I said, you know. But look, we didn't lose. That's about the only positive. McKenna was asked about VAR and he's not a fan. Maybe that's the reason why you don't want to go back to the Premier League then. Do we really want to go back to the Premier League? There's only one reason why we don't want to go back to the Premier League. Let's be honest here, yeah? One reason why we want to go back to the Premier League. The money. That's the only reason why we want to go back to the Premier League. We want to go back to the Premier League because of the money. This season, we've been able to have conversations about controversial decisions, good games, poor games, and yet the end game, the Premier League, is all about that. It's all about how much money you can spend. You know, how much money you get as a club. So you can pay your shareholders. So you can, overpay for a player and pay high wages. Just so that you can try and compete in that league. And if you're fortunate enough to stay in the league, like Sunderland, probably Leeds as well, then, then you can do it. 7 points from 3 home games is still a decent return. Not if you want promotion, it isn't. If you want promotion, you've got to go out there and get as many points as you can. Playing like we did in that first half was just not good enough. And we can sit, like I said, we can sit and talk about the penalty all day long. I've made my position very clear. I really don't think any of them were penalties. And I think if I'd have been the referee on the day, I wouldn't have given them. In my heyday, I really wouldn't have given them. And the parachute money if you're relegated. Yeah, again, that's the only reason, isn't it? So you're going up, you're going to get parachute money. And like I said, I mean, no disrespects, right? But I'm not sure I want to go up. I'm not sure I want to go up because you can only see what promoted teams end up facing. It's only the fact that Sunderland, had really good recruitment. It's the reason why they are where they are because they've done really well. But are they going to be able to do it next season? Who knows? But as for Town, I think we're going to have to reside to the fact that we're going to be in the playoffs. I think if any team that's going to make automatics out of anyone is Millwall. I think they're absolutely flying, and I think, look, we've got Stoke on Tuesday, and then we've got who we got the following week. I know we've got Millwall coming up, so who knows? But this is me. I normally do this on a Sunday, but I'm working. Yeah, we've got Wednesday. Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday. You watch us fluff our lines against them. I think that's when the fan base would lose their plot if we drew or lost to Wednesday. That would be the icing on the cake for the season. Do you know what? That could happen. That could absolutely happen. Hamish, I am very negative tonight, mate, because today we played a team in the bottom 3 and we fluffed our lines. We absolutely fluffed our lines. We bottled it. We absolutely bottled it. We bottled it in that first half. And we could talk about the pens, but the reality is we bottled it. And like I said, I don't care what anyone says, Jack Taylor, a far better player than Dan Neil. Because 2 games now, second half against Swansea, first half against today, and even in the second half today, he wasn't great. So, I am pretty down tonight. I'm really fed up because I thought, you know what? We get a win today. We are really on it. How the heck does a team like Millwall get where they are? It proves that money does not always get you into the playoffs. No, do you know what, Adi? You're right. But I'll tell you something now, right? At the start of the season, I've got to go back to when I first made a video. The only team I really didn't have in that top 6, I think, was Hull. I felt that they hadn't got enough. I thought they might get relegated or they'd be fighting relegation because they've got a transfer embargo. Well, like I said, Millwall have got a handful of top players and a very solid championship manager. Absolutely. Alex Neil is a very good champ. Yeah, he is. I'm not a great fan of Alex Neil. Don't like him personally. I think he's a bit of a bellend. But again, you can't argue with what he's doing at Millwall. I think he played for Millwall, didn't he, at one point? But look, I'm pissed off. Why? Because I'm a Town fan. Do you know what I mean? No, Jack, I've never met him. I just, not a great, just don't like him. Don't like what he offers. So I've never really thought he was a good manager, but he's doing a great job at Millwall. It's just my opinion. But yeah, I was kind of hoping we would. Ankara, greetings from Ankara. Well, good evening, afternoon, or whatever time it is there. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that. Look, on to Tuesday. We need to get a result on Tuesday. Because if we don't, we can forget about the automatics completely. Are the automatics done and dusted? No, technically they're not. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Ex-Norwich and, anybody who played for Norwich, get in the bin. Apart from Nunes. And that's because Nunes came to us and wanted to play for us. So I can live with that. But yeah, it's what it is, isn't it? Oh, depends what Borough do. Look, I mean, yeah, Borough, I can't see Borough fluffing their lines. I think they've been playing some great football. They've got a player that we should have really gone harder after, and that's Hackney. I think he's a very good midfielder, and he's proving his worth. I think he will be a Premier League player. Like I said, I stand by prediction. I think at Christmas I said Borough and Coventry will go up, and I think we'll end up in the playoffs. And that'll be a case of a lottery, depending who we get. If we get Wrexham, I do not fancy our chances one bit. I think there's something about Wrexham in that team. They're on a run. And if Wrexham finish in the playoffs, I fancy them. I fancy them going up. Whether it's Ipswich in the Autos and Borough. I honestly think Wrexham will be the team that go up. I think they'll do something that no other team's ever done. Hollywood FC, as we can call them. Banger after banger says, the ref was poor, but we had more than enough chances to win the game. Very frustrating playoffs for us. Couldn't agree more. So all I can say is, look, thank you everyone for joining me this evening. Some of you probably watched it thinking, Christ, what's Fisherman going to say now? But you'll always get honesty from me. You'll always get my opinion. You'll always get what I feel. And I am deflated tonight because of a missed opportunity. Very much missed opportunity. That would be 4 promotions on the bounce. I don't think it's been done. It's only ever been done once before, I think. Many years ago. I think it's been done before. But I know Luton were close, weren't they? But they did. Oh Christ! I think they did 1 season or 2 seasons in League One and got promoted. But I think Luton were very close. 2 away wins incoming. Well, what lineup would you go for Stoke? Well, I wouldn't be playing Dan Neil, that's for certainty. I think Jack Taylor's got to go in that midfield. I think realistically you got to look. I think you got to start with Hurst on Tuesday. Don't think Azon had a particularly great game. I think you got to stick to what's been working. Jack Clark on that left. I think he's got to start. He's one of our top scorers. Mehmeti for me, he is a replacement for Nunes. He either plays in the 10 or he sits on the bench. So him and Nunes for me are the 2 players that should really be swapping. There's your like for like. Look forward to playing Spurs in the Championship next season. I know. I see a great meme and it said Walthamstow 1, Tottenham 3, and it was Miles, and I shared that, so I didn't realise Tottenham had won. But yeah, look, yeah, it could well be, couldn't it? I mean, that'd be mad, wouldn't it? Who would have thought at the start of the season Tottenham Hotspurs playing in the Championship? I don't think I think the fans will be gunning for. Nunes has been dropped back in the last 2 games, which I don't understand. Yeah, absolutely. Mehmeti in a 10 for Nunes. Clark on the left. Absolutely. I think we've got to, Nunes could probably play with Matty Siwa, give you that little bit of creativity from a bit deeper, where you can see the play. Mehmeti in the 10. Clark on the left, Burns on the right. I'd like to see a Gelly play on that left hand side, see if he can get down the byline and put a cross in. But our corners and set pieces have got to be bloody worked on. They really have. Stop dropping it on the keeper's head. Drop it in an area which you can hurt a team, not on the keeper's head. Where's our set pieces that are special set pieces we used to? We used to whip it out to the edge of the box, play a pass, play a real long ping to the edge of the box, and for someone like Chappers to bang it in the back of the net. Seems to have gone. All them unusual set pieces that sort of catch teams out. What's going on? But there we are. It is. Trevor says that's the Norwich position he played. He played for Norwich. Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, he did. He did play in a bit dropped, a bit deeper, didn't he? He was playing a bit deeper. But I think Mehmeti shouldn't be playing in Clark's role. I think he's doing that because obviously Philogene out. But would we be any better off if Philogene was fit right now? Hard to know. But right now, penalties or not penalties, first half was shit. Second half was far better. And we have dropped points again against a very average Leicester side, which we should have gained full control, we should have taken 3 points from that game, and we didn't. So that means now the ball is in Mo Borough's court. They win tomorrow, and I think we're going to have to accept that we are playoffs. We've been poor at set pieces since we had a set piece coach. Well, yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I'd love to get on that training field with them and them set pieces and say, right, you need to start dropping it here and here and here. But I'm not paid enough. Yeah, I have to agree, actually, RMS. Mehmeti gave the ball away. And he's got to get his head up sometimes and look for the pass. There was opportunities for him to make a good pass and he didn't do it. It was tough at times to watch, But this is the thing, you see. We have a very expensive squad. What we don't have is a team. And it hasn't been a team. We've played sometimes. I mean, last game, O'Shea got absolutely praised to hell for performance, and the performance before that. Didn't think he had a particularly great game today. And like I said, our biggest consistency this season is our inconsistency. So on that note, honestly, thank you all for joining. We've got 11 likes. We'll go for 50 likes. Always get around 50 likes for a small little podcast like mine. I'm Mike the Fisherman. Thanks ever so much for joining me. I will be back probably Wednesday night with a post-match review on the Stoke v Ipswich, and hopefully I'll be in a better mood and saying, right, we've got 3 points on the board. We're still in with a chance, and who knows? So everyone in the chat, thank you for taking part. I appreciate it. Honestly, it means the world. You're all lovely people that join this chat. And like I said, subscribe. I'm Mike the Fisherman. This is Fisherman's Blues. Thank you all much. And we'll catch you next time.